Chase Thomas podcast. My nephew needs me to record. See, I already hate it. I hate it.
All right, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Chase Thomas podcast, where I'm still the aforementioned Chase Thomas, coming to you live from Knoxville, Tennessee, Everything School HQ, where I am joined by Locked On Vols and Volquest own Eric Cain. Eric, good morning, my friend. How are you?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being here. You're one of the few I will do an early morning pod for. And I say early morning. For me, early morning is anything before noon in terms of like actually leading a show and having conversations about things. Like I'm half a cup of coffee in right now, Eric Cain, and I'm getting there. But I need time to acclimate. I am a night owl by nature, but I feel like you don't have a choice anymore with the little one. Like you're just whenever you can make it all work.
Yeah, I mean now with the little one, I mean he dictates everything in my life. He dictates up my schedule and everything. So I mean, one night it can be, getting going at 7 a.m. One morning it can be 9 a.m. I mean, it just kind of depends on him. But I'm a night owl too. I love staying up late. I just don't want to be up late working. That's my thing.
Yeah.
At least let me change that. I don't want to be up late on camera. I'm usually doing something, but I don't like to be late on camera. So, but anyway, we get it done, man. It's all good either way.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, don't forget, you can watch Eric over there on Locked On Vols. Daily podcasts go up, premiere live at 12 a.m. He's not doing those live at 12 a.m. They're streaming live at 12 a.m. But you can watch him there and all of his great stuff there. And you can also listen to Eric on the Volquest podcast twice a week and read all of Eric's stuff over there at volquest.com and support the good folks over there. Don't forget, you can also watch us on YouTube. Chase Thomas podcast, well over 2,500 subs and growing a little bit more each and every day. So if you're watching, hear us on YouTube, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, comment below, and join the conversation here. You can also help the show continue to grow on Apple, Spotify, or however you get your podcast. Leave us a 5-star rating and write us a review. Helps other people find the show, and it helps this very show continue to grow. And always visit chasethomaspodcast.com for full episodes, links, and all the information about what we're doing here each and every day, where Eric Cain comes up with quotes that people just don't say, like on the hop, and says it just matter-of-factly in a text message early in the morning that he claims people say. And you can let us know right here in the comments, and if that is a thing. If you've ever heard anyone say "on the hop" is the way he's expressing it, but especially through a text, just saying "on the hop" just by itself, no memory of that whatsoever. Eric Cain.
Yeah. Again, getting here to the studio, the online studio, the digital studio. Yes. I was saying, "Hey, man, I'm hurrying up. I'm on the hop," and he's just like, "What's going on?" I'm like, that is a thing. I heard that growing up playing sports on the hop. So my mission today is to go, and everybody I'm in communication with, I'm going to say, "Hey, have you heard the expression or the phrase on the hop?" And they're going to be like, "Yeah, of course. Who hasn't?" I'm going to be like, Chase Thomas. That's who hasn't.
Yikes. Well, we're about to find out, Eric. I need you to report back. Maybe I'm the only one who just never heard it. I don't know. It could be me.
I will let you know, man. I will let you know.
It
is my mission here on a Thursday to make you believe that is a thing, or at least that was a thing. I don't say it every day now, but it was a thing.
Yeah. Hey, there you go. Well, Eric Cain, first thing I want to ask you about. You've been at a lot of these fall camp practices and everything else because they're off today, right? We're taping this on a Thursday morning. So they're off this morning. But what has been your most interesting observation you've had from seeing fall camp in person over the last 2 weeks?
I guess interesting observation, probably the tight ends. And I recognize we're still pretty early on. And full pad just came on yesterday. And scrimmage number 1's coming up on Saturday. But, it's like every time you look up, the tight ends are doing something athletic. The tight ends are doing something where it's like, oh wow, or man, that group, that those 4 guys just look like football players. And again, like I'm intrigued to see how Desan Brame transitions inside, hand in the dirt, physicality aspect and all that. Jack Van Dorselaer did a good job in that regard back in the spring, and he has more of a defensive end background, so that comes as no surprise playing high school football in Texas. We know Ethan Davis has spent years trying to get into that role, and he's starting to come around. And, of course, Miles Kitzelman. So, and maybe it has to do with the receivers, who I'm sure you'll ask me about here in a moment, and maybe the lack of guys out there and the lack of plays or whatever. But, it's like the tight ends look like one of the best parts about this team. So I'd say the tight ends. I probably wouldn't have said that coming into fall camp. I don't think they were going to be bad, but I just didn't think they were going to look this good. And they have so far, and that's a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, and you feel better like with no tight ends in this class now with Carson Snead flipping to North Carolina. You feel okay because look, we'll see if I guess Ethan Davis, it depends on what kind of year he has. If he has a truly like breakout year, maybe he goes straight to the NFL. But if he doesn't and he's just good and he has one more year where Kitzelman's gone, he's exhausted his eligibility and he's the leader and he gets one more year. Then you got Desan Brame and Jack Van Dorselaer in there. I mean, you're okay. And Cole Harrison still out there, and you can always go in the portal. Like Miles Kitzman, no one thought was going to be a leader in that room and be one of the, top 3-4 tight ends in the conference when he arrived at Tennessee from Alabama. So you feel pretty good there. Like you said, like you got 2 last cycle. You really don't necessarily just need to take somebody. Although I did really want Moose Ludwig just because his name's Moose Ludwig, and I just felt like Heupel and Latrell and company would have had and Ablin would have had a lot of fun with Moose Ludwig. And I wanted to hear Moose in Neyland Stadium, like Moose. That would have been that would hurt because I just think that one would. Boo Carter though, great name for the circumstances he has. Because if he gets boo, like you're just not going to know either way. It's a great situation for Boo Carter this fall. But you talk about the receivers, like I can already sense like on the Volquest message boards and our comments this week on our shows, and I think fans are already starting to like splinter a little bit in terms of this conversation. And I think it's uncomfortable is the whole thing is like some folks are really like hitting the panic meter of like, what are we doing? And my whole thing was, and I don't know if you agree, but the ship has sailed. Like, I guess this was a January problem that never was addressed. So it's just been, I can't talk about this every day for 8 months. It's just what happened was they messed up. They lost a whole lot of folks, some of which are fine. Like you recruited over Caleb Webb, Chaz Nimrod and company. Like you've done a really good job recruiting in that department. I think Tennessee's going to be just fine at receiver in 26 and beyond. 25 though, you knew Brew McCoy exhausted his eligibility. You knew Dante Thornton was off to the NFL. You knew you only had one upperclassman veteran in Chris Brazzell. Like you just needed one guy. You just needed a Dane Key. You needed a Nick Anderson. You needed an Isaiah Horton. You just needed one. Like that's all you needed to compete and work against Brazzell. Brazzell not being around for fall camp at all. That's a problem. Timing is like one of the biggest parts of this fall camp for this offense with a new quarterback, new receivers, and the timing's not going to be there. Like clearly Tennessee's going to have to put these guys in bubble wrap. Braylon Staley missed multiple days this week. Mike Matthews missed some time. He missed some time last fall camp too with the hamstring thing. Brazzell, we'll see. Like that's a huge TBD on what that looks like. He missed some time last year. And it's like you bet on 2021 health, right? Where in 2021, you had about 2,000 snaps between Cedric Tillman, Velus Jones, and Javonte Payton. You had pretty amazing injury luck there. 22, Cedric Tillman goes down with an ankle injury in the Akron game. He's not the same from Akron on. Then in 23, you lose Brew McCoy for the year in a devastating injury against South Carolina. 24, you lose, Squirrel White was banged up all year long and so you're getting nothing out of the slot position all year. Like it just Dante Thornton also in 23, where he's finally breaking out on the outside and he gets hurt on a touchdown reception against Missouri. So you already knew the numbers weren't right. You already knew you're going to have to throw out freshmen. Like it is what it is. Like you mismanaged this room. Like this is like you can still be high on other parts of this team and still say that they have a high floor. And I love the defense. I think the offensive line is going to be a lot better than people think. I think the running game's going to be just fine. But it is what it is. Like the receiver position, like that was the whole thing in the spring portal. It's like, I didn't care. Like the Brady kid from Cal, like that's not fixing anything. Keelan Marion from BYU, that's not fixing anything. You needed to address this 9 months ago. Like this was the 9 months ago problem that is now, I think fans are saying, oh, wow, we really are thin. And we have like 5 guys dressed out during fall camp with a quarterback competition going on. Like it's just, I'm out. I can't sell any more passing game stock outside of the tight ends, Eric Cain.
I have no issue with the guys that left the room in terms of the transfer portal, Caleb Webb, Chaz Nimrod, Squirrel White. I wish them all well. And I understand Squirrel White was very productive here. Like I'm not trying to talk down on his production.
Yeah.
I mean, he's fun to watch and all that. There's a lot of other factors here. I mean, all these guys, I'm sure, were saying, hey, how much can I get to come back? And I mean, depending on what they're asking for, I mean, Tennessee's probably like, no, like we're going to move on. I mean, did that play a factor in some of these guys? Maybe, we'll see. But nonetheless, I think from what you got from Squirrel White last year, very replaceable. And of course, the other 2 guys. But the point is to what you just said. I mean, you had opportunities to go and add to this room. You had Amari Jefferson, and that's great. But the guy's not played a college snap. And outside of one day in fall camp so far, he's not really flashed at all. You put yourself in this situation to where you have 7 scholarship wide receivers, and now, fans want to say, "Well, Tennessee never plays 7 scholarship wide receivers anyway." I hear you, but look at where you are right now. You've had 3 receivers who have been out at points and times over the first 6 fall practices. The majority of the time, multiple receivers out at one time. So you're operating with 5 scholarship wide receivers. You're operating with 4 scholarship wide receivers. That's not enough. Like that's not sustainable for the duration of a season. So you just kind of put yourself in the situation. It's unfortunate. Now, having said all that, the guys who are out right now, I truly believe most of this is just precautionary. Brazel had a look at something in July, and so he's getting back in order to not let his little deal prolong into the season. So he's going to be back here soon. I mean, Braylon Staley, Mike Matthews, I think these were just like, all right, well, let's nip this in the bud so this doesn't linger. And this is the time to do it. Don't get me wrong. This is definitely the time to do it. But that room doesn't have any experience outside of Brazel, and Brazel had no consistency last year. So you want him practicing with Jake Merklinger and Joey Aguilar, and it's frustrating for sure. But yeah, to your point, I mean, this is a spring talking point, a summer talking point. Here we are. This is what they set themselves up to be in if an injury struck the room. And so how do you deal with it? Do we see more tight ends? Do we see a Trey Weary, a walk-on, get a whole lot of reps? What's the counter here if this happens in the season? We're getting a little bit of a look at it right now. But again, early part of camp, they're being careful. Those guys should be fine. But it is frustrating, and I get the frustrations.
It's time to run the triple. Let's get Jeff Monken in here.
Oh, man, the triple option offenses. So much fun.
It is. And I mean, the tight ends, I think, are going to be really good. I think the offensive line is going to be really good. I just think you're just kind of screwed here. Like the fact that, Eric, did you ever think in year 5 of the Heupel era that y'all would be talking on the Volquest? I think it was Austin who made a point about like Dayton Sneed at like, oh, I wonder if Dayton Sneed is regretting or something like along those lines. And you're like, is that where we are on August 7th? We're talking about like, oh, Dayton Sneed could have maybe helped Tennessee right now. And you just mentioned Trey Weary. Like that cannot happen. And people were jumping on the Nico camp for a lot of stuff. And a lot of it was fair to jump on. The one thing that Nico's camp is 100% right on is the receiver stuff. Like I think they were off on the offensive line. I think the offensive line is going to be really good. I think Tennessee's done a really good job there. Running game's going to be just fine. But receiver, yeah, no, I'm right there. I think that was I think it's okay.
But I mean, if you look at it through another lens, and again, I think I think the number needs to be bigger, right? But don't just go take a guy who's not going to be very good.
Right.
Darius Jackson is going to be good. Travis Smith is going to be good. Braylon Staley is going to be good. Mike Matthews was a former 5-star. Like, these dudes are good. Like, they're talented. Yeah. There's a reason why at certain positions you didn't go get from the portal because you like this young talent. It's just the overall number. So it's unfortunate. We'll see what happens. But again, these little hiccups here early in training camp are really just to make sure that they're not lingering into the season. But they need to be on the practice field because if memory serves me right, there was a lot of wide receivers that didn't practice an awful lot in 2023, and the wide receiver room was not good in 23, and it wasn't consistent in 24, and we'll see what happens in 25.
Yeah, I don't want to be a negaval, but it's just that I don't know. It is what it is. We gotta call balls and strikes here, and I would love to be pleasantly surprised and love to be wrong on the receiver position situation. But it is kind of wild. Like we've been so focused on the QB battle. Like I think the transition has been all receiver panic, and a lot of fans are like, I don't even really care about the Merklinger Aguilar QB1 battle. I've moved on to who is going to be our starting receivers. Do we have enough numbers to get by? Is where we're at right now.
That conversation is going to pick up this week whenever we hear reports from the scrimmage. Because, I mean, again, when we're out there at practice, like, we can see him throw routes on air. And I'll say this, the routes on air on Saturday and Sunday, not very clean. Routes on air Tuesday and Wednesday this week, look good. They've responded the right way. We just don't get to see an awful lot, right? I mean, I think Merklinger's probably been the most consistent from what we've seen. I think Aguilar has done things better, like deep ball, throwing out of the pocket, his footwork, his hips are quicker, and his footwork's better. But like, again, I think Aguilar can do things better. I think Merklinger's probably been the most consistent. But again, we don't see hardly anything, and there's so much practice that happens that we don't get to see. So I just think from a lack of visibility standpoint, there's just not been a whole lot to talk about. Now, when they get to the scrimmage and we hear what Josh Heupel says and we hear what people who were at the scrimmage will tell us, and then we relay that information, and it's like, okay, ugh, Jake Merklinger was pathetic. Oh, that's bad. Oh, Joey Aguilar threw a touchdown. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, we'll have those things to kind of, or vice versa, and so I think that conversation's going to be picking up big time this week.
Yeah, because it just feels like if that was something I was telling folks in 21 about the difference between like there's been a lot of comparisons to the Milton Hooker 2021 QB battle. But like the difference is, I mean, look at what Joe's doing at Cowboys camp. Like Joe, you saw it in person. Like Joe is an elite practice player. Like Joe beat out Hendon Hooker, and Joe is a elite practice player. And Aguilar lost a QB battle at App State in 2023. He came in. He's a gamer. Like if Joey wins this job, it's Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Like it's in a scrimmage where it's just he goes out and plays. Like that's where Jake has to thrive is in practice. Like that's how Jake has to pass Joey is like the difference is Joey's not clean, And you look at it and you're like, of the three, like the least amount of arm talent from what you see in videos, it's like Joey just makes it work with what he has. But it's just more of like the natural arm talent where you just throw around the videos like, oh, McIntyre throws around like Nico. Like you see some of those and you're just like, I see the live arm. Like you can see the natural live arm with McIntyre. You saw it with Nico. It's a little bit, you saw it with Joe, a little bit different with Aguilar, where it's just Aguilar is just you put on the game and then you're like, oh, he just figured it out. He's making it all work. And that's where I feel like on Saturday, Jake has to be like, hey, you're going up against someone in this QB competition who's just going to let it rip and knows he's behind the 8 ball. Like Jake's going to have to go make plays. Like this is where Joey, I feel like shines is in an actual scrimmage setting. And this is where Jake has to make a move.
Yeah, it's a really good point. And you just got to go. Like, you can't worry about who's not out there. You can't worry about, oh, well, we're only going to go 10 plays and out, or we're just going to have this one series, or we're doing situational, right? It's like, oh, well, we're backed up. We're working, goal line coming out. We're at the 5-yard line. It's 3rd and 8, and, they're sending blitz or whatever. Like, you just can't worry about it. You just got to go out and play. And I too think this is kind of where Joey might have the advantage because Joey Aguilar has been in the fire before. He has played a ton of football. He has seen defenses. He has seen blitzes. He has seen defensive formations. And Jake Merklinger has been a part of this team and this scheme longer. He just hadn't seen as many live bullets, right? And that's not his fault. He's a young guy. I mean, Joey Aguilar's 4 years older than he is or whatever. So I think this is where the experience can come in. So I'm like you. I think on Saturday, if Joey Aguilar is going to win this job, it's not going to be just Saturday, but it's going to be in those settings on a scrimmage Saturday, and then the next scrimmage they do, and then the final scrimmage and all that. So I'm intrigued to see kind of what happens. I wish George McIntyre was, I think Brent said this earlier this week, which is he was 25 pounds heavier. He does have a live arm. I think that he's going to be the best of the three. I don't think he's ready right now. And again, that's no fault to him. He's a young kid. But I think he's going to be good. I just don't think, in my personal opinion, that he's truly in this competition. I think it's a two-man competition when it's all said and done. But I wish he was older, and I wish he was bigger, because I think that he will end up being the best of the three down the line.
Interesting. We'll wrap up on this. Which position group do you feel better after all your observations in fall camp thus far? Which one do you feel worse about after all your observations this last 2 weeks?
Is it hard to feel worse about wide receiver? I'd say that.
Do you? I mean, I definitely feel worse because I already didn't feel good about the numbers, but now it's like, oh, you have a lot of guys banged up here, and like there's no timing is just so important on this offense, and it's just you're not going to have time to get the timing right because people are in and out. Like I think that has to be right. There's no other. I mean, maybe quarterback, but outside of that, I don't know.
I would go position group I feel better about, probably the secondary as a whole. Now I love the corners, okay, and I've been big on the secondary being a leading force for Tennessee this year, but McCoy is out. Boo Carter did not practice for the first 4 practices, right? Like there were some question marks in the secondary, and I love the way they're utilizing Jalen McMurray. He's kind of a Swiss Army knife. He was a star before Boo came back. Ricky Gibson's missed 2 practices, so right now it's Colton Hood, Jalen McMurray at corner, which Colton Hood, what a pickup. What a tremendous pickup in the spring portal. He's the versatility is going to allow guys to move around. So I like guys being able to move around and make it work. Ty Redmond, a true freshman corner, man, I think he's going to be good. They like him. He's physical. He's so long. I think Caleb Beasley's looked good at safety along with Idris Farouk. So, again, I thought the secondary was going to be good, but I had so many questions because of the McCoy and the Boo situations. But, up leading into the first scrimmage, I think that the way they've been, kind of playing chess, not checkers back there with their personnel has been very impressive. So I'll say secondary as a whole been better, and then I guess the receivers, just because really if those guys were out there running routes and practicing, we wouldn't be feeling this way. Be like, yeah, we wish they had another one, but man, at least they're out there practicing. But like when there's 2 or 3 out at a time, it's like, goodness gracious. So until those guys get on the practice field, I'll say wide receiver.
You can hear him on Locked On Vols every day, Monday through Friday. You can listen to him on the Volquest podcast. I won't say the Mailbag podcast, but also just the news podcast, because y'all have different terms for the different ones.
Both podcasts, the Tuesday and Thursday podcast, and the Game Day podcast, and me and Matt Ray will do a recruiting podcast and anything else on the Volquest podcast feed on Apple Podcasts and wherever you get your podcasts.
I love it. Eric, keep up the good work, my friend, and we'll have to check back in again very soon.
Hey, Chase, thanks so much, man.
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas Podcast. Hell yeah.